Hello everyone, today I want to show you something that visualizes wealth inequality in a way that's both educational and infuriating. This is a wealth distribution simulator based on actual wealth data from Germany in 2017. The population is divided into 9 lower deciles, each representing 10% of adults, plus some smaller groups at the top end. Each bar represents the average wealth per adult in a group. The taller the bar, the wealthier are the people in that group. In this diagram, each green pixel represents 50 euros. And notice the first bar on the left, it's red because it represents negative wealth, people who owe more than they own. Look at the wealth differences. The bottom 10% have negative wealth of about 12,000 per person. The second 10% have essentially zero wealth. The middle groups have some savings. But notice what happens as we move toward the right side. The 9th decile has about 210,000 euros per person. That's already substantial, but it's nothing compared to what comes next. The 90 to 99% group has about 250,000 per person. But then we have the top 1 to 0.1% with about 1.8 million per person. And that final bar, that represents just 0.1% of the population, about 72,000 people in Germany, with an average of 22 million euros per person. To put that into perspective, each person from that last group has more than 200 times the average wealth, which is around 108,000 euros. The simulator has to bend the bars because a straight bar would extend way beyond the screen. Now let's see what happens when we introduce a tiny bit of wealth redistribution, just 0.1% of wealth per day, and distribute it equally to everyone. I'm hitting play and you can see the bars starting to change. Notice how the negative wealth in the first group slowly becomes less negative and the second group starts to build up some wealth. The fascinating thing is that the middle groups see relatively small changes while the extremely tall bars on the right gradually decrease, showing how concentration of wealth means even a small percentage redistribution can have a significant impact. What we are seeing is essentially a simulation of how a universal basic income funded by a wealth tax might work. Each day, a small percentage of wealth, in this case 0.1%, is collected and divided equally among all adults. Look at the daily redistribution amount below each decile's average wealth. That's effectively what each person would receive as a UBI payment. And notice how most people in the bottom 70% are gaining wealth, while the system is being funded primarily by the very top brackets. Even with this small redistribution rate, over time we see meaningful changes in the wealth landscape. We can adjust parameters like the redistribution rate, time interval, and the simulation speed to see different scenarios. Now, for instance, I will show what happens if we redistribute 0.01% every 3 hours. The key insight here is that because wealth is so concentrated at the top, even a modest redistribution creates a meaningful UBI for everyone, while the vast majority of people, even those who are relatively well off, would benefit. Now at the end I want to mention some caveats. This only shows the wealth and potential redistribution system for the wealth. It doesn't show other income, it doesn't show what people spend money on a daily basis. All of those numbers are kept constant, so to speak. Another thing is that the initial data only concerns people over age 18. In a proper UBI, I would also include children as the beneficiaries. And another possibility would be that we might not give all of the wealth out as a UBI, but partly use it to finance common goods like education, housing, health, and public transport, and so on. And obviously solving wealth inequality and giving everyone a UBI wouldn't solve everything, but that should be understandable for everyone who doesn't throw whataboutisms at a daily basis. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions about my ideas on UBI and wealth redistribution, feel free to ask. And also, if you have more up-to-date data or data from another country that shows all these brackets and percentages, please mention them in the comments.